Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Midweek Fix. I am Gav, and I've made a mess of that start, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm missing something. I'm missing an intro. I don't know where it's fucking gone, but that's how things go. Liverpool v Newcastle tonight, an AFCON update, and the January window as well. We're going to have a look at as well. With me this evening, I have got Chris and Keith. Chris and Keith to talk through it all. Keith is adamant that he wants to talk about Sergio Aguero before we leave. If we forget, I don't know what he's going to do. Some sort of lawsuit. I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
but
dirty protest.
Dirty protest. That's it.
Or he'll sing.
Yeah,
well, he'd sing anyway. It all depends what he's listening to at the moment. It is Christmas time, so the chances are a bit of who sang Mistletoe and Wine?
Cliff Richard. No. Cliff Richard.
No, come on.
Richard.
Don't listen to Cliff. No,
Jesus, not a bit of Cliff. No, okay.
Bit of Elton John.
Yeah,
but there's plenty to talk about. One of the big things for me is I'm laughing today. I'm not too sure if it's true, but the Premier League told us today that no more cancellations. Stop messing. And then they cancelled the game a couple of hours before it started, which was the crack. So it was one of those. But lads, I want to start with the AFCON, if that's okay with you. Varying reports coming out today from journalists, both England, around Europe, in Africa, all sorts of stuff. And Keith, I'll come to you first. Like, there seems to be a lot of this no smoke.
without
fire and stuff like that.
No smoke without fire.
No smoke without fire. I tried my best to not get that out. But you have two sides now that are going, one is a lot of journalists going, this is going to be called off. They're in talks to call this off. And you have the African Federation basically saying, no, this is going ahead. And when you look at it, are we 20 days out from it?
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
About that? About 20, 25 days out? So with Keith, what do you make of all this? Because I'll throw a few things up on the screen while you're talking.
Yeah.
To show what's going on today. But it seems to be running out of time to call her off, is what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I do agree with that adage, Gav, that there's no smoke without fire, because a lot of the journalists are coming out are supposedly reputable. Was it L'Equipe or France Football? One of them came out breaking it as well. And, they're obviously getting the information from somewhere. Now, there's obviously talks to go on. We're seeing things like it's getting cancelled. Then you see the ECA have wrote and said the players, we don't want players going. Then you've got talks of the AFCON going ahead, but none of the European-based players playing it. There's all sorts of rumours coming out, and I agree. I think it's too late in the day. They were talking about moving it from Cameroon, but I don't know where you can really move it to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd say it's not going to make much of a difference. RMC, yeah. But like, there must be some talks. Do you know what I mean? CAF are currently undertaking discussions about possible cancellation.
That's the first thing that came out this morning.
Yeah.
They're currently undertaking discussions about a possible cancellation of next month's AFCON in Cameroon, according to RMC. More to follow, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to run through these. We might as well
go
over
through
here, right?
Yeah.
And then we had this from Sadiq Adams, who says CAF have quashed reports circulating on several European platforms suggesting that AFCON 2021 is on the brink of cancellation. CAF head of media relations and operations, Lux September, describes the reports as fake news. All right, which I can't. That kind of makes me nervous when they use the word fake news. All right, and then this comes out later on from Gary L. Smith, who says the European Club Association writes to CAF informing them that they have no intention to release African players for the 2021 AFCON in Cameroon. ECA have been lobbying for tournament postponement since early November. CAF quickly moved to quell reports say AFCON will happen. So, someone's fucking telling lies here. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
there's a lot of stuff coming from both sides of this, which makes you think that there has to be something in the talks about it not going ahead. Now, the bit that sort of I'd be interested in is this thing of the ECA saying they're not releasing the players. Um, where do you stand then? Can they block them from playing for the duration of the tournament? Do you know what I mean? So you end up
Because
like what
Brazil
happened
threatened
with
us.
Brazil,
Yeah, because Brazil threatened us with that for the Alisson and Fabinho.
but they done it, didn't they? Or
Yeah,
did that get cancelled? No, they
no, we just let them. We just sent them over there, and then they didn't. They
yeah
didn't start the next game for us because they weren't back in time. But
yeah.
that's what they were going to threaten
But
us
there
with.
is that threat is there that you can
Mm.
stop if you refuse to release players. They can stop them playing for the duration that they were meant to be gone for. And all right, it would mean that if from a Liverpool point of view that Sadio and Mo and Naby aren't actually in Africa playing, they won't be able to play for Liverpool. So I don't know if people think that's a better solution. I just think there has to be something in this. I think there's going to be negotiations to get cancelled or defer the tournament and a payoff to the Cameroon. I've seen that being mentioned, and that to me
It's where can they
seems
defer it
like
to though? That's the
well,
problem.
sometime money
They,
talks, and
yeah, because they can't move to next January because
But isn't it weird
World
that
Cup.
you see BBC and Sky announcing that they're
that
going to
they're
show the whole
showing,
tournament?
yeah,
And I'm like,
and
Mm.
and,
that's it exactly.
my question today was, are these announcing this today? Like, when all this going on, the Sky going, we're showing the African nations. And everyone's
Yeah,
going, mate, we don't
it's
think
not
it's on.
on.
You know,
Yeah.
Thor says it's as grim as fuck of the reaction. We should remember the human cost, but it's shameful government bodies can't do clarity. They never do clarity. They never do clarity. And we'll get on to clarity a little bit later on with regards to the Premier League as well. But like Laura Duffy says as well, like, you know, holding a tournament, she says holding a tournament in a country with a civil war was not a great idea, regardless of COVID and cholera outbreak. But I don't know, like it's for me, it's just very, very strange that we're now sitting mid-December. We're 10 days out from Christmas. We're probably 20 days out, less than the players being due to be released. I think it was January 3rd, with the tournament to start on January the 10th. And this is still going on. Still going on. You know, Chris, for you, what way do you see this going? Because, like I said, it's varying reports from different parties all throughout today. And, you know, a lot of Liverpool fans are going, look, if it gets cancelled, we keep these three players for January and it's good and stuff like that. But you do have to go back and look at what Thor says there and says the human element overall. These players want to play with our country in
I think
what's the second biggest tournament to them in international football.
yeah. I mean, when I started hearing the rumours coming out that it was going to get cancelled, I thought this probably happened, and the CAF stuff where they were questioning it, I thought was a little bit of bit of a bluff, you know, because they know it's going to get cancelled, but they wanted to get leaked on their terms. But with BBC and Sky saying they've got they're showing the games, it feels like possibly the people saying it's going to cancel have jumped the gun a bit, as in like maybe there have been, or maybe there still are discussions about moving it. I mean, look, I can understand Liverpool fans being happy that if it got cancelled or postponed, we don't lose Sadio, we don't lose Mo, we don't lose Naby Keita while we're in the mix of a title run. I get that. You know, my initial thought was that, well, that's good for us. But whether people like it or not, they want to. These lads want to play in this tournament. It's the biggest tournament for them outside the World Cup. You know, if you know, look at the hoo-ha when the Euros got moved. I mean, there's a little part of me that thinks if FIFA or UEFA really give a shit about the African Cup of Nations, which they should do, because it's a big tournament, like, you know, like Copa America, like the Euros. If it has to be done in January, why can't they make sure it's going to be in a January where you haven't got a World Cup the next summer? And you basically say to football, right, for 3 weeks, the league shut down. And if you want to watch football, the only thing you can watch is the AFCON, which puts all the focus on the AFCON, makes it more prestigious, doesn't really affect anyone's league situation because basically the rest of your players get 3 weeks off, and you extend the league by 3 weeks, as long as you haven't got a summer tournament, which isn't going to work in the current climate. But that's probably would have been the more sensible thing because that keeps everyone happy. African players can go and play in the AFCON. You know, it makes the tournament more prestigious because if you want to watch footy, that's the only footy you can watch, and you know it'll be a very decent standard. And then for the English and European club, you don't lose players during the middle of the league, and basically you get a bit of almost like the winter break there, we've been asking for in England properly for a winter break for ages.
I'm wondering if Sky and BBC have got a good deal on this, and it's written into the contract that regardless of when it goes ahead, we get it at this deal, and they're kind of going, well, if it happens in the summer, we'll get more out of it because, you know, nobody's watching anything else during the summer, whereas they're going to be competing against what is European League football during January, you know, the sort of way. So it's just a mess, and, you know, there is the health side of it, and, you know, our country's red listed, because countries are red listing other countries. They're falling over themselves to do it now. They will be anyway, you know, the sort of way. So you have to look at, you know, players looking, and the clubs, from the club's point of view, they don't want them to go because of the health risks, and also losing them for league games. Let's be honest about it. Like, let's not play the Egypt here. But if they go away to Cameroon and go deep in the tournament, like I think someone was saying, you only missed 2 league games because it's on throughout January there till the end of January, start of Feb, and if they go deep and then they go, right, well, you're red listed, 10 days isolation, can't do fuck all. That's another 2 weeks you're out for, and you could be missing more league games. So the clubs are definitely looking at it from the football side as well as the health side.
But even the 2-game thing's not guaranteed yet, because officially all the African players are supposed to play on Boxing Day, and then go get ready for the tournament. Yeah, it's not officially been agreed. Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, there was talk of them agreeing on till the 3rd of January, which would have got them the first league game in the new year out of the way. Yeah,
but as of last weekend, Klopp was saying it still hasn't been. There's been no agreement. They're still sitting and waiting. So at the moment, Klopp's got a game against Leicester between Christmas and New Year, and he doesn't know if he's got Salah or Mane. He still officially doesn't know if he's got them yet.
I just checked something there, lads, and all 11 countries have been removed from the UK's red list as of today. So Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe are all on the list, and they're being taken off the list. So,
I don't know.
You know, it's not looking a weird
like before we move into Liverpool v Newcastle, just on the Premier League, because we've seen Spurs having games called off, and we've seen United get a game called off, and you know, there was reports that the Spurs players that were available were in training the morning of the game they were meant to play Brighton. There's reports that Man United, after having a game called off on Tuesday, were in training today, and then the Premier League said no, you know, no more cancellations, no more this, no more lobbying, and then they called off a game, Watford Burnley tonight. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they're wrong to do that, but the lack of clarity in all this, for me, is just astonishing. And people will say, well, you don't need to know, you don't need to know this, you don't need to know that. At the end of the day, I don't see what the harm is if a club has to basically tell everyone, we have. Basically, all they should say is, right, we want a number on how many players that have appeared in the first team squad in the last 30 days have COVID. You know, I don't have to name anybody, you know, but if you say you have 12 players that have COVID, it could be 9 of them could be under 23s. Do you know what I mean? And it's not being nosy and trying to point score. It's just listen, Spurs come out and say, listen, 8 of our players that have played in the last 30 days in their first team squad now have COVID. Okay? And 5 staff, wherever it might be. And United come out and do the same, and Watford or Burnley or wherever it might be come out and do the same. And on top of that, the Premier League tell you, well, listen, we've looked at it, we know what's going on, and we've judged that they don't have enough players to go ahead. But again, Keith, and this isn't people. When you say this, people go, "Oh, you're just saying that because, you know, with United or Spurs, you think they're getting an advantage." I don't. It just makes it a lot easier for everybody to realise and stop all the hullabaloo by going, listen, they've come out and said this, and the Premier League rules are that, and this is what's going to happen, and everyone's cool with it. Because people are still floating around today not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Teams there's no consistency with the rulings, and that's the problem. You know, some teams, going back last season, there was, you know, teams that had have cases and were made play, and now you've got instances where, look, we're not questioning what's going on at Spurs and in you know, insinuating that anything dodgy has gone on at Manchester United, but if you've got a load of players that are, whether they're close contacts or whether they're confirmed cases, surely you lock things down and you don't go training the next day. And that's where there's a lot of confusion is coming from this. Like if Spurs, I thought Spurs were boxed off now until before they played us. But obviously they're not. Because Leicester are looking to get that one cancelled and can't.
Yeah, so Spurs had their game against was it Rennes?
Rennes,
yeah.
They had that called off, and there was murder over that because Rennes they have an email from Spurs on the Wednesday to say the game's going ahead, or the Tuesday. They show up in London. It might have been on the Wednesday evening or the Thursday morning, wherever it was, either the night before the game. And when they turn up, they're told the following day it's not going ahead after receiving clarification that it was right. They then have that Brighton game called off. All right, but then they were like, "Oh, we've closed the training ground. No one's allowed near it." Blah blah blah. But the reports were the morning of the Brighton game, Spurs players were doing double sessions with Antonio Conte. Right now, that could be all the players that were negative, but to clear all this up, they just need to say, "Listen, there was only 8 of them, or there was only 10 of them, or there's only 12 of them, and 3 of them are goalkeepers." We're not asking for who has them. You don't have to name them. No, and all they have to do, they just have to. They don't have to tell us anything, but they should go to the Premier League and say, this is the amount of players in the last 4 match day squads that have it, and this is the amount of players that are currently negative, and them amount of players cannot fulfil the fixture. And Premier League look at it and go, yeah, look, there's no argument with it. It's either positive or negatives and stuff like that. The Premier League look at it and release a statement going, game is off because criteria A here is part B, part C, and the result of that is this because of the rules we've put in place. That didn't happen. Manchester United then, after playing Norwich, reported cases. Okay, had the game against Brentford called off. Norwich game went ahead against Villa. Okay, which is fair enough. Test them, they're negative. Go ahead and play. But United tested. Now, I've seen someone out today saying there could be between 15 and 20 cases at United. I'm not too sure. But reports then was this morning Manchester United were back in training. You know what I mean? Again, it could be 5 players, it could be 10 players, it could be 12, and 4 of them are goalkeepers. We don't know what they are. Now, Spurs are due to play Leicester. Am I correct? Thursday?
Yeah,
same night as us. And basically, Leicester have said I think they said 9.
Yeah,
9 players with COVID related or illness is what he said.
Yeah, but they have injuries as well.
They've injuries as well. They've no senior centre back was the word that was given out. But again, like there's just no clarity. There's no. It's all very well all these clubs kind of saying, well, we've 9 of these players. Well, who are they? And the Premier League are just sitting there going, and then of course, no more this, no more that, and they call a game off hours beforehand today. Like, Chris, what needs to be done here? And I'm not saying what needs to be done to make it for everyone in the world to be happy, but what needs to be done where you just go, it's very, very simple process, and here's the simple process, and we all know the outcome by just reading what they've said. Because nobody knows, Chris. No, like we're going into a Christmas period now, and we genuinely don't know what the fuck they're going to do.
No, it's the ambiguity, but that's the Premier League and the FA all over. They like to leave that ambiguity in there. Christ knows why. But if they just came up with whatever they decide the ruling is, whether it's if you have 13 players, 15 players, or if there could be a rule around goalkeepers because that's more specialist. You play the game. If it's this many, or if your training ground has been taken over by COVID, then you shut it down. But if you've got that many that you have to shut the training ground down, then surely the training ground and the players should be out of bounds for 10 days. So you basically write off 2 weeks. Now, writing off 2 weeks in December is a logistical nightmare, but that's what you do. But if everyone knows the number, or everyone knows the parameters that they work within, there's no surprises, and clubs can plan around that, and clubs can know what they want to do. Because at the moment, people don't know if they're playing players or not playing players, planning. And also, it's if you want to talk about player safety, that's also the player safety element is, you know what to expect from the clubs, which is if you get this many cases, it's all shut. It's the fixtures cancelled. If it gets to this level, everything's shut down, and the players, everyone go home.
It seems to be the clubs are just shutting things down. The clubs seem to be shutting things down and going, and the word they're using is lobbying, and that's what annoys me. You shouldn't need to lobby. You should put the facts forward, and the facts are just fed into the criteria that's there from the FA or the Premier League, and you go, well, we've looked at it, and you pass 4 of the 5 criteria, but the last one says you've 14 players there.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't that meant to be a rule that if you
and
could
you've
steal
7 or
under
8 in your
23s?
you've 7 or 8 in your 23s. So that means you have at the moment 22 players to choose from a Premier League fixture. But this lobbying thing is what got me, Chris, because that means that they're going in and going, look, forget about all the stuff that we've ever done before. Look, we've loads of players missing. Do we have to play this game? Sort of way. And that's
We've
what's kind
key
of getting to
players
me.
missing, and that's the problem. Was there an incident last year when City got a game cancelled for
Everton.
that's the wrong
Everton away.
terminology. A game was cancelled because of it.
The game
was
against Everton was cancelled on
Yeah.
2 hours' notice.
It was in
But
around
was there
Christmas.
another one?
No,
Yeah,
it was Everton. It was Everton City, and City showed up in Liverpool, and then said that the bubble had been compromised, blah blah blah, and it was called.
But was there not another game where someone was told you failed your 23s? Was there not another game where there was a bit of an uproar about that?
Well, it was against Villa, wasn't it, in the FA Cup? Because they said they couldn't work out where they could move the FA Cup game to, so we had to play their under 23s. Listen, their under 23s did well because they went 1-0 up. But Liverpool got the benefits of that, but what could have been a very exciting FA Cup fixture, because Villa had the Hoodoo Rovers at that time, became farcical. And again, Villa were told it was almost like Villa weren't made to play, but it was made difficult enough that Villa basically had to field their kids, which isn't right.
But even if you want to show a certain amount of leeway on this, right, and you say, right, what's happening at Spurs and what's happening in United is caught us on the hop. Fair enough, right? It can happen, right? Fair enough. There's a bit of a panic. Spurs have 13 members of staff, mix of players and staff. United have X amount. Fine. But what I'm saying is, what straight away they should be putting into place, right? Everyone back into them bubbles that we had before. You're all staying in fucking assigned hotels. You're being tested in the morning. You're being tested in the evening. And if you test positive in the evening and then the following morning, you're good to play. Okay? Yeah. It's only if you turn up in the morning of the game. And I know it's going to put out fans and stuff like that. I get that. But we're giving this game every chance we can to start. So on the morning of that game, if you test 25 players and 14 of them come back, right, they're good. Do you get me? But what you're going to find is 15 of them come back, but there's 8 of them are positive, and these could be close contacts. And then there's so much leeway in it. It's unbelievable. And look, it's a hard situation, but I just can't for the life of me understand how the FA or the Premier League in particular are not just turning around and saying, this is what's happening. This is what's happening, and that's it. And put all the players in together and draft in 23s if you have to, and keep them all together and make sure they follow criteria and test. Because they have the means to test. There's no doubt about it.
The issue isn't with, in my opinion, I'll speak for myself. The issue for me isn't with Spurs or Manchester United. They own that. I'm watching Leicester very closely on what they do, because they're claiming they have got cases, which is fair enough, but they let slip that they've no, through injury as well, they've no centre backs. So I'm going to be watching them and seeing, our club's going to try and manipulate it. Where
if there's no clarity, if there's no clarity, whether people like it or not, and people will think this sounds awful, clubs and companies, whether will always try and bend rules to their advantage. And if there's no clear procedure in place, then it's a lot easier to do it and a lot easier to figure out. The only thing I don't agree with, Gav, is the maybe the United thing and Spurs thing come on hop in a nice possible way. COVID's been around now for 2 years.
Yeah, I understand that.
There should be things in place now for what if you have, because it can't be the first time.
I get that.
All this with 15 broke out. It's not a new thing.
But they've managed it in a certain way, and obviously the criteria they have in place to manage it is now what was working for the last 6 months is not working now. Yeah. So the maybe the little bit of freedom they give players has to be pulled rein back in. Maybe the travel arrangements, whatever it might be, if they're traveling the night before the game and where they stay, the arrangements was probably not lax, but relaxed a little bit over the last 6 months because he had things in order. And there's always going to be one or two instances that does kind of alert you and go, right, this has happened. We're going to have to deal with these two, but now this criteria goes into place. And it may do, but we're still sitting here, a week after Spurs first announced this, and the Premier League have said fucking nothing. They've nothing. Yeah. They basically said no more lobbying and no more cancellations, blah blah blah, and then cancel them.
I get what you mean by, as in maybe the way they did the Bulls was the restrictions were relaxed a little bit because of it was looking like a bit of a normality, and that's all gone to shit now because it probably isn't. But no well-organised organisation, which, let's be fair, the FA definitely isn't, doesn't do crisis management, doesn't do crisis planning, which is, this is what you do if this many players are injured, that many ill. Because how they deal with themselves in and around the ground, yes, that could change, that could happen, but you can't tell me it 2 years ago, shit, I didn't realise a whole club could get COVID. It's been around 2 years. I work in a hotel industry, and I guarantee if I spoke to our head of health and safety, there is a set criteria for, we've never had a massive outbreak in the whole hotel, but if we do, this is how we get shut down. This is what happens to every member of staff, every guest, and it's done. And that's probably a legal requirement. So to me, the FA and the Premier League should have had a legal requirement with, these are the thresholds you hit. Hit any of these thresholds. This is a cancel a fixture. This is a shut the training ground down. This is basically almost like eliminate the club for 2 weeks and they can't do anything. And this is when you bring them back in, and then you worry about the fixture list. Those sort of things to me.
Maybe that is clear. Maybe that is clear between the Premier League and the clubs, and they do have that threshold, and and it's just not being made public. But that just creates a skepticism then that they're making it up as they go along, and they're taking each game or each incident on its individual merits when there should be a blanket rule. I mean, I know it's going slightly off topic, but in Portugal a couple of weeks ago, Benfica had to play Belenenses.
Oh yeah,
they had 7 players.
2 goalkeepers.
2 goalkeepers. One goalkeeper had to play outfield. They were 7-0 down or something, or they had 8 players or something. One fella got injured. They had to abandon the game.
That's obviously sent off or something. Yeah,
that's obviously in Portugal, and that decision was made because the Belenenses chairman wanted the game to go ahead for some reason. But there's no one size fits all. But each federation or each league should have their own set rules, and that's what I think the frustration is in the Premier League. They say they're the best league in the world, they're the biggest league in the world, the best footballers in the world are playing there, the best managers in the world are all in the Premier League. Yet there's this sort of grey area.
It's the worst organised in terms of officiating, which we all know is dog shit. And when things go wrong, they don't have a clue. And that's the perception it gives. Now, maybe they do, maybe I'm doing disservice and it's all organised, but sometimes communication, they're very poor at stuff like this when it's a difficult conversation. When it's just like, they're the best club in the world, we made the most money. They're dead good at communicating that. But
well, Polly Wallen says your health is your wealth. I wish people would get that into their fucking heads. Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And, that's why the talk around the AFCON going ahead, it's clubs are definitely looking at it as an advantage if they don't have to send their players. But overall, the big thing is, are players safe to go here? Are players safe to go anywhere? Because if the Champions League was on next week, you'd be asking the same question. Are players safe to travel to X, Y, and Z? Your health is your wealth. Red Raw Steve says, and he's changed his name again, and we're going to have to do something about this fella. He's starting to annoy me now. Because he keeps changing it, but I know who it is, so that's good. Can someone do a pie chart showing pod splits into football, COVID, general air fryer chat? Well, the funny thing is now, right, if we didn't speak about this, you'd be guaranteed someone would comment after going, why aren't you talking about what happened with COVID and all these clubs and the Premier League? And then we talk about it, and Steve gets all upset, and,
it's not necessarily the COVID that we're talking about. It's the cancellation of games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we're not talking about COVID as such, vaccine, anti-vaccine, any of that stuff. We're just talking about the impact because games are getting cancelled and some are being played, and it's the uncertainty around it. So, games are getting called off left, right, and centre. We have to talk about that. You know what I mean? And in the spectrum of AFCON as well. I think I understand people do get pissed off at that sort of stuff, but I think it is only right that we talk about it.
It's also kicking a problem down the road because Craigslist was going to fit these fixtures in. The fixture list is tight, and we can't extend the season really because of if we extend the season now, that eats into the summer, which is less of a break. And that's the next World Cup.
But that's a lead on from the lack of clarity because if Leicester was successful in getting that game against Spurs called off, Spurs have 2 games now. They have Brighton. Well, Rennes as well, yeah, but that has to be done with
that won't go ahead.
They had Burnley.
Oh, they have Burnley, because of the snow, of course. So they've Burnley, they have Brighton, and they'd have Leicester. So they've 3 games, and they're not fitting in over Christmas. So then they've an extra 3 games between January and May, Now, you could say they get knocked out of the cup early and they could meet, if those clubs go out, fair enough. But that happens, the chances of getting the three of them sorted, and not one of those clubs going into the 6th round quarterfinal of the cups is fairly low, I think. But we better get off this before.
Breaking news by Red Raw Steve. It's Reed Raw, not Red Raw.
Okay.
He didn't think about that when he made it up, but did he?
No, he didn't. He's Red Raw.
Yeah.
Red Raw.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Unlucky. Yeah, but you want to put a space in between the D and the R there. Or the E and the D, whatever. Yeah. But we're going with Red Raw. Change it now if you want, buddy, because it's Red Raw forever now. Even if you just change to Steve, we're going to call you Red Raw Steve because you're fucked up and I'm delighted. Red Raw Steve. Love it. My favourite person on YouTube. Right, let's move on. Liverpool face Newcastle tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. at Anfield.
Cancelled by 6.
Stop it. It's a big game. Newcastle are struggling badly. And we'll get onto the transfer window in a little bit because they're going to play a significant part, I think.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, I think, going for 6 league wins in a row, if I'm right. Yeah, 6 league wins in a row.
Salah's going for a record, isn't he, as well?
He's fucking going for records every week.
Most games in a row for goal and assist. Goal involvement. I think if he scores one more scores or assists, he beats Vardy's record.
Okay, Keith, I'll come to you first. Before we get into lineups, predictions, form, and stuff like that, how are you feeling going into this one? Because I'm going to be honest with you, these are the ones that unnerve me. Right, and the simple reason is I always talk about it. Liverpool and their attitude. If their attitude is right. There's not many teams, if any, out there that allow football Liverpool. If their attitude is right. But I don't know. These are the ones I get nervous about. If we were playing Manchester United tomorrow, I'll be less nervous. Let me put it that way.
These are cat's piss. Newcastle are one of the worst teams in the league. They're devoid of quality. They're devoid of, confidence. They've got a manager who some people rate Eddie Howe. I think he's a decent enough coach at a certain level, but I don't know if Liverpool is what he wants to be dealing with at this stage as well. So I can't see anything but a comprehensive win, to be totally honest. And it can come across as arrogant, it can come across as cocky. Newcastle, big club, big fan base, passionate fan base. They're going to be huge players in the market. We know that, but this current Newcastle side. No, I'm not seeing a threat in there, and that could come back to bite me on the arse. I do understand what you're saying, Gav, that these are the sort of games that can catch you out. But I just think, last season we drew with them, didn't we, near the end?
Twice, didn't we? Home and away. We threw away silly games.
Yeah, Willock get a last minute equaliser at Anfield?
Well, he gets it. Well, they get an equaliser, have it disallowed for a toenail being offside,
and then score,
and then go back and get another one because we just let them
score again. You're like, fuck it.
It
was a car crash defending that, which has elements of Brighton's 2-2 this year.
Yeah, but I think, could be wrong, you know what I mean? Put the markers on it. I think we're much better than that now. Do you know what I mean? We know last year was last year, and things weren't right. This year, I think, Callum Wilson, Alan Saint-Maximin and Joe Linton, even though Joe Linton's a bit shit, he will be a threat. The front three will be a threat if they go with that. The rest of that team, I'm having a quick look at their expected lineup, and the defence is fucking deplorable. Federico Fernandez, Jamal Lascelles, Fabian Schär. Schär's a decent player. Manquillo and Jamal Lewis, Willock and John Joe Shelvey possibly in the midfield.
They need to find a midfield to replace John Joe Shelvey. He's a walking time bomb. You saw it in the last game. They subbed him off when he got sent off. But John Joe Shelvey's been like that since we signed him.
Yeah.
And he's been like that at Swansea. He's just that type of player. He's got a lot of talent and ability, but he's so easy to wind up, and he ends up always getting himself yellow carded, and you wait for the red card. He's becoming a bit of the modern day Lee Catmull.
Yeah, and that's where I think, if we play now, there could be changes. We know that there could be changes to the lineup, but if we're going in there with a Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago midfield, Shelvey's not going to see much of the ball, and the frustration will we'll build. And even if we were to make a change there and we were to bring in Naby, let's say, for this game, I don't think it's going to be any easier for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think I can't see where Newcastle's threat will come from. I know they can come back and bite you on the arse, but you know, it's a poor team.
Yeah, so Roll Steve's changed his name again, which Gav will like. Sorry, Gav, I will stop changing my name.
It's changed to that. Do you know what we should do? Can we pick a name for Steve? And make if Steve agrees, can we pick a name that he has to stick to? And I'll be very fair, but I won't be a prick over it. Attention, sorry, Gav, I will stop changing my name, aka Steve. Will you let us pick a name for you that you have to stick with forever? How does that sound? Let us know. Chris, loads of people in the chat there talking about what do you reckon with changes, resting players. You know, we have got Spurs away on Sunday.
I reckon we'll make about 4.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, we have Spurs away, and I'm going to be very interested to see that Spurs lineup against Leicester, right? Because if all being fair, what's led to believe, they shouldn't have anywhere near a full team out there against Leicester, and we'll only have them back the day of the Liverpool or the day before the Liverpool game. But Chris, I'm not a man for changes. I'm just not. Not in life. I like change in life every not so often, but in this game, I'm just like, just go out and win the game. But you think about 4. You think we just cover 4 and we're good.
Yeah, it's this time of year where people like it or not. This where Klopp does 4 or 5 changes every game. He's obsessed with it in December. And to be fair to him, 9 times out, our December record's really, really good under Klopp. Yeah. I think last time we lost a game in December was Bournemouth away, which was in that green kit. So we're talking quite some time ago. I think we had Carrier's goal.
Was it?
No, second.
Toxic. Yeah, we had Toxic Carrier's goal as well, which was part of the reason we lost. So I think he does that. I think if we were playing Wednesday and then playing Spurs Thursday, I'd expect less changes. I think the Thursday Sunday, it's almost like the Europa League thing. Yeah. And Thursday Sunday kills people in the Europa League, and similar in the league. And plus, then I suppose he'll make massive changes for the Leicester game midweek. But I can't see Matip starting, because to ask Matip to do Thursday Sunday, I think you're asking for trouble.
That's fair.
And I think personally, if you had to pick which game you want Matip for, I'd want him for Spurs away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good. I think it'd be a good game for Canate, because his pace against the Saint Maximin is probably what you need. It might be a good game to give Robbo a rest. This is the sort of side actually that Tsimikas is built for, which is, we've always said we want to rest Robbo against the bottom half side. This is literally, if Tsimikas isn't ready for Newcastle at home, he's not going to be ready for anything. And to me, if I see Tsimikas start, he doesn't worry me. And then apart from that, the other two are Thiago and Jota, because I think
apparently Jota. Apparently, someone said earlier Jota and
I think Jota won't start.
Haven't trained. Firmino's back in contention though.
Yeah, that's one. Because I was going to say, if Origi trained, I'd do Origi in the middle, and I'd do Chamberlain for Thiago. Again, for Thiago, I think asking Thiago to do Thursday, Sunday, you're asking for a bit of trouble. Okay. You know, he hasn't had many injuries, but we also know his history of having injuries, so why risk
Jones
it?
Is back in training, but I don't think he'd make it.
Yeah, Klopp said he won't be back for Newcastle. He said Firmino's in contention, though. So again, if Firmino's fit enough, do you throw Firmino in for 45 minutes an hour?
Does Tsimikas get a shout at left back for this one?
The beauty of it is, sorry for cutting in there, lads. The beauty of it is now, if we make 4 changes to the team, we're looking at bringing in players who are not, you know, a huge drop off. So if you bring in Tsimikas for Robbo, I know Robbo's elite. Tsimikas has been more than an able deputy. If you bring in Canate for Matip, Canate has been, you know, he's had dodgy moments, but he's on the back of a good game against Milan. His confidence will be up. If you bring in Oxlade-Chamberlain, who hasn't always been, I know he had a stinker the other day against Villa. The position. I think the position sort of caught him out there. But I think his form up to then has been quite good. And if you were to bring in an Origi or a Taki or one of these, like, they're players that are, you know, or a Milner, let's say, you're bringing in players that the level, well, it's not our best 11. These are the games at home against Newcastle that you can make these changes for, and you're not looking at it and thinking, oh, I don't know about this. Do you know what I mean? So I'd still be confident if we made 4 or 5 changes that we could easily beat them.
Veranda Cheese wants to know, can he have a spanner at the end of his name? Yeah, I can sort that out for you. sorry for changing my name, Gav. Is now he said he trusts me, but he's changed his name to As Long As It Isn't Stiff On. Between us, we'll think of a name for you by the end of it, and you have to change. Something very simple that I just know it's you. I do know it's you by the profile picture with the triangle on it. I know it's you all the time. But just something when I look at it, just go, yeah, there's Steve. Like even just Steve would do me, and that would mean that he's just Steve, because it means he's not going to change it. Will we just call him just Steve?
Yeah.
Will we?
I'd see if we can think of something
more
creative.
Keith has that evil look in his eye.
No, I won't. No.
Keith's got to put like a big song lyric in now.
No, we call him. Just change it to just Steve, please, and then.
Someone's pointing out in the chat. Fabinho is on 4 yellows as well.
Well, I'm not. I don't give a shit. I'm not stopping. I'm not playing him.
Yeah, I'm not playing him.
Oh no, he's playing.
But then
I'd probably consider resting him.
I'd consider resting him because I'd want him for Spurs away. Because realistically, if he plays Spurs away and then he gets suspended, touch wood, it's Leeds at home, and we've just seen recently Leeds are in a horrific bit of form.
Now,
so
do the bookings only carry over into the league, or is it domestic games? Because we've had this argument before.
No, I think it changed the year we won the league. Because I thought that when we rested him against the Villa 2-1.
Okay.
So I was like, let him get a yellow and miss the League Cup, and then they changed the rule, hadn't they, to say if he got a booking against Villa, he missed the City game, which is why he missed out completely. So I don't think it does.
Okay.
Sorry, Gav. Paulie Walnuts is saying, sorry, but I was busy there. How on earth can you say that's not what we're talking about? That's the conversation we were having, and for you to dismiss it like that is shocking. I assume he's talking about COVID. Paulie, it's a comment there. I don't know. Clarify if that's what you're on about there, will you? What my point about that, if that's what you're talking about,
Keith,
is...
Sorry, but I was busy there. How on earth can you say that's not what we're talking about? That's the conversation we're having. And for you to dismiss it like that is shocking. I don't know what he's talking about.
Clarify what it is you're on about there, will you? And
I think it's when we said that. I think when people, when Red Steve's having a pop at us about talking about COVID, I think we said we're not solely talking about COVID. We'll talk about the fixture changes and the lack of clarity around it. So
exactly. If that's what he's on about,
it's both things.
I don't know what his angle is there, but look, just clarify if that's what you meant, and we can discuss it. Exactly.
Like Paulie Wants is a scary guy. Look at his picture.
Yeah,
scary guy. But he's always in the chat, so I'm all.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's what I mean.
Go with Keith.
Have a pop all you want.
There you go. Just Steve is in. Anyone that's looking for a spanner at the end of the name, it means you become a moderator on the channel. I can't do it right now. I can only do it afterwards when I can go back into the actual YouTube and sort it out for you. So we're fairly comfortable with making changes. You two are anyway.
I would be for this.
So come on, let's pick a team between us. Because and then when we pick a team, we can talk about the players that are in it and what we feel they'll bring, and is there any threat from Newcastle, or what do we have to look for? So we're okay with Alisson in goal?
Yeah.
Okay. Trent right back?
You think so, but there is always that Milner curve. But I'd like to think he'd go Trent right back.
Okay. Are you going Gomez?
No, he could do. I'm saying he could do, but...
Well, I don't want the could do. I want you to pick a team. So are you going Konate?
Right, yeah. I go Konate and Virgil centre back.
Okay. You go with that, Chris?
Yeah. I've got that.
Okay. Let me see. Left back.
Tsimikas.
We'd go Tsimikas, yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Tsimikas left back. Okay. Just to give Robbo that little bit of a rest and just keep him
it's to manage him. Yeah, it's to manage Robbo. If we could do the same with Trent, I'd do the same with Trent, to be honest. But I just don't. I don't know.
You could do Milner there.
You could do Milner there. Look,
but I think that's three changes in the back
Nico
four.
Could be in with a shout, and that's the thing. I don't think we'll make that many changes. I think, two changes, and it's, Tsimikas and Konate in, and you still have a strong back four.
Okay, midfield. Are you both resting Fabinho because of the yellow card issue?
I think I am now. I wasn't originally.
Yeah, I wasn't originally, but I think I am now.
But if that yellow card thing's true, then I'd probably do
The,
Henderson in the 6.
the only thing with that is Klopp has often Fabinho was scared with the yellow card thing before, and Klopp has played him in games that could have ruled him out of big games, having faith that he can.
I don't think I don't think Klopp takes him out of this game.
So yeah, I don't think he will, because I think we might see Thiago rested.
And Chamberlain coming centre mid.
Yeah, I would have put Naby in, but Chamberlain's probably the next taxi on the ranks.
I think so, because only because Naby's only been training for about a week, hasn't he? If that.
Okay, so you're going Ox and Hendo in the midfield.
Yeah.
Okay, well then up front is interesting because Jota hasn't trained by the sounds of it. Mane and Salah are both going with. What are you doing up top?
Salah, Mane, Bobby.
You're putting Firmino straight back in.
He started training. He's been training for a week now, so you'd probably want to give him an hour. If Jota hasn't trained, well, he didn't train last week, and then they gave him half an hour as like a pre-arranged thing. So they could probably do the same again. Give Bobby an hour to get an hour in his legs, and then give Jota half an hour.
Okay.
I would play Taki up front. I would not. I'd put Bobby. I think Bobby will come on, but I don't know if he'll start him with no training. I know Bobby's a player he trusts to be able to do that. That's the only thing. Also, I think he does have trust in Bobby that he could drop him in after a rest.
There have been occasions where it's worked, but generally Bobby's a pretty horrific sub. He's one of those players with brilliant starter. He's not an impact sub. There have been games where he's done it, and he's done it really well. The PSG at home, I get that, but
there's only been 2 or 3 examples.
It's handfuls. He's that's why I think he's one of those players. He probably needs to start, give him an hour, so he can play himself into the game, and then you throw him in, and then you throw Jota in or Taki. You know, if you're worried about Jota, Taki gives half an hour, but
okay. So what we come up with between us is this. Alisson, Trent, Kanate, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, Fabinho, Hendo, Ox in midfield, Mane, Firmino, Salah. I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm all right with that.
He's played a strong team. I think it could be, I'd have it even weaker. I'd be resting. These are the games when, I know we'll have cup games coming up in January and things like that. I think Newcastle at home at this current time is not a gimme, but it's as much of a Premier League gimme that we can have. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised to see another change in there on top of all that.
Okay. The only game that'd be weaker than this game on paper at the moment would be Norwich at home. That's probably the only game that you go, that's probably an even weaker team. So, let's, like you said, Keith, this could come back and bite us in the arse, you know, and if everything's permanent.
Yeah, no, I do have a nervousness over it because if you put us in against the top 6 side tomorrow night, I know Liverpool are going to be absolutely on it and go for you. Yeah. And in fairness, they've been on it against Southampton, they've been on it against Arsenal at Anfield. You know, it was tough against Villa at the weekend, but I thought we were at it. We really were. I think just Villa were just very stubborn. Super
and they're a better defensive team, I think, than what Newcastle are. You know, I think Villa are built on the fact that they've an elite goalkeeper as well. So a defensive setup or a good goalkeeper can get you a long way. Whereas I don't think Newcastle really have that. Before we move on, Gav,
I'm not moving
Polly
on.
Walnut said that he wasn't having a pop. No, and like what was weird, I just want to clarify. You know what I mean? Nobody likes talking about COVID and things.
Yeah, I know, but like, listen, you and Polly Walnuts want to fucking copy yourselves on, right? Because with all due respect to both of you, this channel is good football chat. It is, right? I'm going to say it. I'm going to blow a trumpet for once. But at the same time, don't take anything too seriously. No. Don't do that. Because, and I'm talking to you as well, Keith, right? Give a fucking over. Right? No, it is. It's good football chat. It's very balanced. It's very relaxed. And we don't take too much too serious. So don't.
We always say the chat and the community around the chat is what makes it the shows. Yeah, and we stand by that. You know what I mean? So people don't have to always agree with us and things like that. And there's never any hard feelings. Do you know what I mean?
Ronaldinho Goat Super Chat says, play Thiago and Keita versus Spurs to unlock the Conte bus. I think Thiago plays, but I think he'll do everything he can to have Fabinho and Henderson on that pitch that day.
We haven't lost a game with those 3 playing, have we?
Yeah, I think, you know.
I get the Keita unlock the bus bit, but that's ignoring the fact that Henderson has been one of our key sort of outlets on that right side has been devastating of late. You know what I mean? The link up of Hendo and Salah
the Fabinho Thiago almost at times now plays as a two, and it's almost like the City Henderson. You've got a free role, and not that you forget your defence usually, but
I'd love
there's less of a need for him to cover Trent because they go, we'll do that. You go and push really high up, and also become the fourth attacker and push teams back, which is what we used the year we won the league. That's what we were really good at, was just pushing teams back. We did it in a different way. We did it from fullback, so it's just like an evolution a little bit.
Yeah, I like the form we're in and the way this system that I think is being altered slightly with that player on the right hand side of the midfield three getting that chance to push on and really push on. I'm just dying to see Harvey Elliott back in it. I really am, because I think he was very good in an 11 that had teething problems because they were trying to do this, but they've started to motor with it, and you put him in there, and I think he's going to absolutely thrive, and he looks like he's flying when it comes to training as well. So it's good.
And people thought that, Gav, people thought when Harvey was in there that the more attacking sort of link up that he was having with Salah was just down to Harvey's natural instincts to maybe go forward, but it's obviously planned that Henderson is now doing that as well. So it's obviously something that they're looking at, really overloading the right hand side with whoever it is, someone that can get in there, link up, and can deliver the ball in. That maybe Thiago is a different type of passer than Hendo, and Naby is certainly different as well. Maybe it's that ability to get a wide and whip balls in that'll be keep the likes of Hendo there.
It's also given us a different way of getting Trent into dangerous positions, because lately you've also been seeing like Henderson or Elliott when he played almost hugging the touchline as the wide right, and Trent's been doing the underlap and almost playing like as a number 10 again, just to get his delivery, but again because they can't mark him then, and then they switch it back to the old way. It's just a different string to you.
It's starting to look like it's coming together for me in a big way, and I just think I'm not saying drop, like, you know, people immediately think, well, who are you dropping for Harvey Elliott? I'm not. Just play one of them for fucking 60 and the other for 30 and then reverse it for the next game, and everyone's playing great. I'm good. I don't care. Jono says this, and Bejan, in fairness to him, says very similar, so I want to give him a shout. He says, I expect an easy 4 or 5-0 win tomorrow. They are rubbish, and you know the boys watch that City game and they'll want to send a reminder back to those plastic boys, i.e. City. Just Steve, newly christened Just Steve, says Keith won't break your kneecaps, Gav. Paulie, I'm not so sure about. Well, it depends. If you rub Keith up the wrong way about certain things, he gets very, very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
You know,
Keith, how's your
telling them that some stadiums in South America look shy.
Yeah, well, don't. Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
So you still walking on bridges, telling people you're that guy off the internet? Or have you stopped
Since then, I haven't been spotted once. Or I haven't been approached. I think that was a red herring. That was someone winding me up, just getting me to walk over bridges like I'm Billy Big Bollocks, like me shit.
I thought you had a t-shirt saying, "That's right, it's me from the internet."
Someone in an office building looking over saying, "Oh, here he is, look, there he is, thinks he's famous."
Sean P. Casey says, rumour FSG have apparently given Mo until the 1st of January to sign their offer of the new contract. 3 years extension, I presume. 300,000 a week, agent wants more, and that's what's taking so long. Sean,
Rumours.
Rumour, but
love it by Fleetwood Mac, and that's the only rumours that I'm interested in.
The thing is, Sean, what I would say to you is that, you know, people will take certain things and they'll run with it. What I noticed about Klopp was when he was asked about it, I think it was last week, it might have been before the Wolves game, I think it might have been, and he's asked about it and he just says, look, it's a contract situation, all parties, it takes time, all parties very relaxed, everyone knows what they want, and it takes time to get there. So Klopp is, now don't get me wrong, Klopp can be a compulsive liar at times, but it was more his body language and how cool he was over it. That,
it was a different tone to what we had in the Genie situation, isn't
it? I'd be very surprised if FSG have told him to sign that by the 1st of January and he'd still have 18 months back in the contract.
Yeah.
And they've put themselves in a position where they can't square him over, because they're only actually they're weakening their bargaining chip of whatever they have, because Klopp or Salah's team will just go, well, literally they put an ultimatum on us now. So, you know, the ball is completely and utterly in their court now. We
Yeah.
don't have to do a thing.
If he doesn't sign it by the end of the season, I'll be amazed if he's at the club next year.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
Because
I agree,
it's different.
but
It's different letting a genie go on a free where you could have got 20 or 30 million. You know, this is a best player in the world. This is a ridiculous sum of money that, look, no club is going to turn down. And that's not even an FSG Liverpool thing. You wouldn't see United or City letting someone of that quality go down to 1 year and going, we'll let him go. I'm afraid they wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the only one big one you have seen is Mbappe at the moment, and that's because they've been trying to get him to sign a deal, and he just won't. You know, and they've weighed it up and went, listen, you know, we one more bash at the Champions League with him before we lose him on a free. That's just the way they are. But they're in a different fucking stratosphere financially to the vast majority of clubs on the planet.
And that wasn't a pop at Sean either. Like, it's valid
not at all.
when you get these rumours that
look, Sean hasn't started the rumour.
You hear so many of them. Exactly, you hear many of the things coming out, and we're going to get, you know, we're getting 100 rumours about Mo at the moment. Wait till it hits January.
Come here.
With them.
Sean has written that in, and he says, look, rumour, because it is. It's out there. We're just giving our opinion on it. That would be my opinion on it. I think the club will do everything they can, but I do agree if it gets to next summer,
mad not to.
The way FSG run, they would go, we can't let this go for nothing. We just can't. But it's verging on unforgivable if they don't give him a contract. For me, that's just the way it is for me.
I still think Salah gets done. I think the two that you got to worry about is Salah and Bobby. Manny and Bobby.
Yes,
Freudian slip there. They're the two where I'm not convinced that both of them get done. I think Salah, they will, because I just think, as you said, to let him go is criminal. And to if people, you know, there are people who don't like the owners, the people who are sitting on the fence, that'll do a big sway against the ownership. And let's be honest, they hate any sort of that level of PR. Manny and Firmino, I think, are the two you have to worry about more.
Well, Bejans puts us perfectly. He says, let's not get too bothered with these rumours and focus on winning games. FSG will live and die on this hill. I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't. I wish I'd written that or said it. Yeah. That's what that is. Just that side then. So that side that we've seen. What does it bring for you? What are you looking for? Is it a case of there's more than enough in there to do serious damage to Newcastle, while at the same time giving a left back, a centre back a rest, a midfielder a rest, and bringing in a forward and getting them sharp, i.e. Firmino, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at that, if that was to be the team tomorrow, you're looking at a left back coming in, but we know Tsimikas is going to be an attacking left back. To me, it just screams absolute overloads all over the place there.
It also screams confidence builder for Ox. This might touch wood if he plays. I'm hoping this is the game he gets his goal, because Ox is that sort of confidence player. And to be fair to him, he's got better at not kicking the crap out of himself mentally when he makes a mistake. He's been quite good at letting the mistake go and playing on. But it just looks like if he had like a decisive goal, like the opening goal, where he's scoring the first in a 4-0 win, I think that'll take his confidence to a different level, and then he'll go even better. I mean, to be fair to him, I actually think he's had a decent season. You know, he's been available. He's been. I would probably say 8 times out of 10 been a key part. He's had the odd bad game, but to be fair, who doesn't? You know, I don't think the false 9 thing works for him, but I'd like to see someone like a Chamberlain get the opening goal, because I think you'll see a different Ox if he gets the opening goal in a Liverpool win. I think that's what he needs.
I think he's been good this season, as was Naby in the early parts of the season when he was available. And I think that's a big deal now that our squad players are coming into a strong team and a confident team, and it makes all the difference. Whereas last season we were plugging in players, playing them out of position by necessity. Whereas with Ox the other day, that was a choice. That was something that the club looked at and, you know, decided it's something we could do going forward. They'd done it in pre-season, whereas last season we were just plugging anyone in that was fit, play here, play there, in a team low on confidence. Whereas now you've got Taki coming in. Well, he's not getting many goals. He's not, you know, pulling up any trees. He's having decent little performances. Ox has been good. I think Divock has been good as well. You know, he's got a couple of goals, but I think he's played pretty well in games. So it should be more than enough to be able to bring these lads in, get them off to a good run, and get the result early, and then if you have. Look, I don't really put the kiss of death on this, but if Tyler Morton's on the bench and you're 3-4-0 up, give the Unfiltered again.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like I look at that team and it has more than enough. I go back to it though, application, because Newcastle's idea of this is going to be on the break. They're not going to look and get their foot on the ball and play around you, because they get picked off and they get fucking destroyed, right? But they will look on the break, and Liverpool are quite happy to go and play high up and take that. Andy Kaufman says, Gav, bean toasty, yes or no? 100% yes. But
is that beans on toast or a bean
no,
toasty?
bean toasty. It has to be done in a
sandwich maker.
Has to be sandwich maker. Okay. Don't put beans, just make toast and put beans on it. No, don't put cheese or nothing in it. Just fucking thing. I'll tell you what's beautiful though. I'll tell you what's beautiful. White pudding and beans.
Oh, get the fuck.
Oh sandwich my maker. Jesus Christ, it's so good in a sandwich maker. Yeah. So
tell you what else is great.
I could go down this rabbit hole all night.
I'd rather talk about Formula 1
sandwich maker.
A what?
Chili con carne onto your bread in the sandwich maker.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Is there beans in chili con carne?
There is, yeah.
What are them? The big brown beans? Nah,
well, it depends. Yeah, but see, that depends how much of a snob you are. Like when I used to get this back in the flats, it was a tin of beans, like baked beans were fucked in by me ma, so they were all right.
Yeah, but you are famous down your way for the cabbage water.
Well, do you know what? Funny story, right? My dad loves cabbage toasties.
Yeah, something wrong with you. I swear to God. But anyway, listen, Andy Kaufman, being toasty, but from a sandwich maker, they cost you a fucking tenner. Like, and at the bizzle.
Where were we?
Application. I don't want Liverpool to go and attack Newcastle and be that kind of what we've seen up against Brighton, where they go, I'll let them have it and see, let them come up the pitch and see, I want them to be fucking on this. I'm on it. And be absolutely snapping at them. And Shelby doesn't get a minute. Willock doesn't get a minute. The fullbacks don't. Nobody gets a minute because Leicester beat these 4-0. Someone said earlier, and Leicester's been shite all season for the majority, right? But I swear to God, we go out and put one or two past these in the first 25. It could be 3 at half time, and you're allowed. Is it 3 or 4 subs you're allowed in? It's only 3, isn't it? 3. Well, I'd make 3 subs, right? And I would not be bringing Andy Robertson on. I would not be bringing Thiago on, and I would not be bringing Jota on. I would be putting 3 other players on that pitch and saying, now we've rested 3, and then we've fucking taken 3 off. That, we've rested 6, really. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the application where we just pen these in, but be so aggressive in what we do, because they won't be able to handle it. They just won't be able to handle it.
My facial
Paulie Walnut says that he's proud of me. Remember the white pudding. I'm proud you remember the white pudding. Seriously, white pudding and beans in a sandwich maker is just phenomenal.
Spice burger as well as the business. If you throw a spice burger.
No, spice burger omelette is the best. Spice burger omelette is just incredible.
Spice burger on a breakfast.
Chris doesn't know what a spice burger is, but
you've told what spice burger is. It sounds about as horrific as white.
It's fucking amazing.
He doesn't know what white pudding is either.
I know what white pudding is.
No, listen, you don't have
black pudding.
You don't have the right white pudding over there.
We have crap as well.
I was down in my local shop today. Dropped the young one off the school, and I go in the shop every morning and grab cigarettes, milk, which usually fucking does a list every morning because this house is mad. But I said to the guy, do you know the white pudding you have behind the deli counter? And he was like, yeah. I said, it's really nice. Can you get me some? He's like, yeah. He said, they come in big long slabs. They're €7 each. I said, get me 2 for over the Christmas. So I'm gonna go mad, and I'm gonna dedicate me first beans and white pudding sandwich maker toasty to Andy Kaufman, if that's okay.
Yeah, just Steve's got my opinion perfect.
What?
It's just, but I've not. I haven't seen Bracky make that facial expression since Keith started talking about Formula 1. Kev started talking about
Formula 1 is great.
It's fucking.
You're only a fan the last week, Gav. Don't.
I love it. The last month, I'm in. Like I'm mad into it. I'm telling you, next year I'm all over it. Next year, qualifying, practice.
You and Kev do the Formula 1 chat then.
Fucking telling you, me and Kev might go to a Grand Prix.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good.
We might do, and we'll have great. Brian Murphy says all the confidence about tomorrow night has made me nervous. I'm with you, Brian. There's a little bit of nerves there, but what I would say is that I keep saying it. Apply ourselves properly, be absolutely intense for 30, 35 minutes. We'd be able to sight against these, I promise you. And
I do think having 2 pacey centre backs helps.
Yeah,
does Dwight Gale still play for them? Does he?
Dwight Gale, he might be knocking around.
Still there?
He's still there. Yeah.
Give me a score prediction, Keith, and I need the scores for Liverpool as well, please. Thank you.
6-0. Slaughterhouse.
Right.
Absolute slaughterhouse.
Okay.
I'll go for Salah hat-trick, Mane with 2 and Trent with 1.
Okay.
Absolute dry hump them, no mercy, just absolute upend them.
Okay. Kevin Ball says, he says F1 will be interesting next year, completely new cars. Mate, I'm not that deep into it. Like, I only know the colours of the cars and that's the Red Bull one and the Ferrari one is red. After that, I'm only just there for the crack.
What car is Lewis Hamilton in?
Yeah,
car is Lewis Hamilton in?
You know, where's the Williams with Rotman's written on the back of it? Chris, score prediction and scores, please.
It keeps got a bit overboard there, mate. Come on, 6-0. It'll be a tighter game than that. 4-0.
4-0. Okay.
4-0. 2 for Salah, Chamberlain, and Simicast to get his first.
Okay. Veranda Cheese says, "Fuck off, Gav. You can't even make the fourth corner in the F1 game." That's because it's not real, bro. It's actually ridiculous. Go and try one of them Formula 1 games out. It's absolutely insane how weird it is to even do it. 27-0 says David Lennon. Nil all says Mike in the World. 4-0 at half-time, 6-0 at full-time. Mo treble and get him off on 60 minutes, says Gar Mack. Red Soy says 6-0. Avo says 8-0, and they'd be lucky to get nil. God, we're going high here.
Salah scoring all 27.
Kevin Ball says massive new changes next season on the F1. Gav, you love it. Makes the field even closer now. If it's anyway as good as it was for the last month, I'm all over it. It was really good, like really, really good. What you say, Chris? 4-0?
I said 4. Do you want to go in the middle?
He said 6. I'm not going in the middle. It's 4 and 6 now.
18.
3-1 Liverpool.
Cowardly bastard.
3-1. Yeah.
Get him off.
Salah.
Ooh.
Salah. Van Dijk. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Megan McCann.
And who scores? Who scores for them? Who scores for them then?
The Wilson.
Okay.
4-0. Salah, Jota 2 and Mane. Salah 2, Jota and Mane, says Megan McCann. Ox in front 3 is dead. Do we agree? Well, it was one game at the weekend.
I said at the weekend, I think it'd be better against Newcastle in that front 3 than Villa, because Villa were very quick at the back and he wouldn't have got a sniff, whereas these are going to be absolute shit.
Okay, enough of the football. Archie Dillon has a very important question. All right, lads. Gav, do you heat beans up before you put them on the bread with raw pudding? Only asking as I'm cooking breakfast. No.
What do you mean, no? Hold on.
In a sandwich maker?
Yeah.
No.
All right, well, where I am with this, right, where I'd be with this, and I know they asked you, but I'm going to give my opinion. Do you know what I love with beans, right? You know when they're left sitting in the pot.
Now, you did spend the year just eating cans of beans every morning, didn't you?
Yeah, whole year, yeah. Every morning, a big tin of beans, yeah.
Cabbage water as well?
No, well, I lost loads of weight. So I was on a certain diet, and I was eating a tin of beans every day for breakfast. And I work in a small office, and I used to fart all day. And people were too nice to pull me up about it, but I was ashamed of my life. Every few minutes, farting, stinking the place out. And look, I had to then just put the weight back on because it was an unbearable situation at work. But no, you cook the beans, right? And you let them get a bit more thicker and a bit more congealed.
No, this is
about lash them on.
This is about something being very, very easy to do. So Archie, sandwich maker, you know where you get them. You get them in little Aldi. You get them anywhere, a tenner, right? You know how they look. You open them up at the top. There's 2 squares. Butter 2 bits of bread. Right, if you're making just one on one side, butter 2 bits of bread, okay? Put the butter side of the bread down so it doesn't stick to the sandwich maker. That's very important.
That's the key. That is the key.
You get away with it on a new one because it's not. They're meant to be non-stick, but as the time goes on,
that's what mine is.
Right,
that's what mine is.
So,
and this has to be a sandwich maker, not a
sandwich maker. Yeah,
no,
not in a toaster.
This has to be in
sandwich maker. Put a bit of bread down, right? Buttered side down so it doesn't stick to the sandwich maker itself. Get your beans out of the can and just put them on the fucking bread, wherever you want them. Cut up genuinely try this. Cut up 2 or 3 slices of 2 or 3 pieces of white pudding, or break it up wherever you want, and just layer across the top of the beans. Put the bread on top with the butter facing up, So when the sandwich maker comes down, it's going to hit the butter. Close it and just leave it there for 7 or 8 minutes. And listen, you can laugh all you want, you can make faces, but trust me.
No, sounds amazing. My only gripe is that the beans aren't going on cold. That's my only issue with this.
Listen, they're baked.
I'm with David Lennon. Get Andy Young on the phone.
They're baked beans. They're baked already. They're just fucking cold.
No. When they're straight out of the tin, they're too watery. You need to cook them, taking up that juice.
When you take them out, you take most of the juice away from anyway when you're taking them on the spoon and putting them down on. Just try it. All right, and come back and let me know. Gav, is that your smart going to an even reception, but it's not cold enough for your big coat fleece? Now, this is another golf one. That's another. I don't know what side am I on here. There, Callaway. That's a Callaway golf top tonight. No, this is just a normal. I do play golf in this one, unlike the other one. Andy uses a Smeg. He hasn't got a Smeg sandwich maker, but
he probably has. And if he doesn't,
he wouldn't use a sandwich.
And there is one. He will have it. No, he wouldn't use a sandwich maker. That's true.
But anyway, white pudding, beans, lashed in the sandwich maker, and overall, including the cost of your sandwich maker, a tenner. Beans is about 50 pence a can, is it? And
change your leaf, this
pudding, £2, and you get 4 meals out of
now,
a fiver.
On the pudding, Gav, are we going for like a clonakilty with bits of sawdust and cardboard in it, or are you going for the cheap like galty thing?
No. I don't mind the pudding with the bits in it. You know, the what do you call it? I don't even know what it is, isn't it?
Clonakilty pudding.
I like the smell. I like the smell pudding.
Yeah,
so there's one in Ireland called Oldhausen, which I think you can only buy fucking wholesale now. I don't even know if they do it in the shop. He knows me so well, this fella. Grande cheese. Gav sitting on a sofa in the white beater and white fronts with beans spilling all over himself. Yeah, that's probably about right. If I had white pudding now, I definitely wouldn't do that, to be honest with you. But no, just try it. And the other one for anyone that hasn't heard me talk about this before: 3 eggs in a cup, whisk them around, fuck them on the pan. Straight away, get a spice burger, break it up all over it, a little bit of cheese, throw the top on the pan and just leave it there for 5-6 minutes until the egg is done, and it's unfucking real. So there you go.
There you go.
Heartburn, yeah, 100%. Black pudding is lovely as well, by the way. If you get the right one. Quickly, the transfer window coming in January. The reason I want to talk about this is, A, do you think Liverpool will do any business? And I want you to try to predict how many players Newcastle will sign. That's all I want to ask about that. We will be doing transfer stuff in January, but we're going to try build it into shows rather than make it as... We might do our own transfer shows, but we're going to try build it into shows like this and the Fatback 4 and the Forum and whatever that, and Friday nights with Chris and Kevin, stuff like that. We will have standout shows on their own.
When things happen
and stuff like that. And
have you seen Stephen Lennon's breaking news?
Stephen Lennon's breaking news. Called off. Newcastle called off Liverpool due to hot bean incident. Oh, you see, you're only an amateur by getting stuck on stuff. The bits that are in the white pudding are from cows eating Toblerones. So, Keith, let you go first. How many players Liverpool do you think sign, and how many do you think Newcastle will do?
Right, well, I think Nat Phillips is going to go out the door. That's looking more and more likely now. I wouldn't be surprised if he done one. But I'm not going to hold out. You know, me think we fall for this every bleeding window and we don't do anything. But this time I wouldn't be surprised if he done a little sneaky one, an addition rather than a desperate one. Do you know that way? I think it'll be quiet for Liverpool. Nat Phillips out and one in, I'd say, and that's all you're looking at. And the one in might not be a bleeding top draw one. Newcastle, I think, will do about 6. I think Newcastle will do as much as they can. And I think the standard of player they're going to bring in, they're linked with Kieran Trippier today. It's a good move. You know, that's the profile of player they'll get in. 30 million, I saw, was the rumoured fee. He'll be earning a bleeding fortune in wages. And I think that type of player, you know, I've seen players in the chat earlier, someone was saying, you know, Tarkovsky and other people getting linked. I think that'll be they'll bring in the types of players. Megan's a good shout there, Coutinho, you know, players, big name players that clubs are trying to get rid of will be get lobbed towards Newcastle, and I can see them doing 6 signings, and
So can I.
maybe one of them will be a success, and the others will just be an improvement because they're so fucking bad.
An
I think
improvement
they're
to keep
off.
them up and
They'll
then
be
look
an
to move them on.
improvement. Yeah,
Yeah, fair
exactly.
enough. Avo says the end of the M62 is down to one lane at the Rocket. Anyone going the game allow for this? Yeah, he said that earlier, and I wanted to note that. So anyone going to the game tomorrow, just watch for the traffic near Anfield. All right, give yourself extra time and stuff like that. Also, there is extra. There's extra pieces of information I think you have to give going into the game tomorrow. So if you're going into the game and you know the way this NFC ticket stuff caused uproar at the start of the season, they are looking for, it's some sort of COVID clearance they're looking for. So make sure that you check it out. You make sure you have what you need before you go to the game, so you're not you don't A, get caught out and don't be allowed in, or B, you don't leave enough time and you're fucking outside the ground and missing Liverpool's first 3 goals in the first 11 minutes. So, Chris, how many did Liverpool do and how many did Newcastle do? I will say, I don't think Liverpool do a tap, and I think Newcastle do at least 6.
I don't think Liverpool do any. I'm hoping they'll do one, which is a wide forward, but my gut feeling is we won't do any. I think you see Phillips and Karius go out the door. In terms of Newcastle, in terms of, I think most people have. In terms of Newcastle, I think they do 4 to 6, but I do think most of them will be expensive loans. Like Trippier will probably be on stupid money, but on a ridiculous loan fee. But I think what they'll look for is they might look for one big marquee player like a Coutinho, name-wise, and then I think then they'll try and poach players that Burnley, Leeds, the ones in the bottom half would go for. They just outbid them. Try and take it from a rival, keep themselves up. I think that's the plan. But the way they're playing at the moment, I'm still thinking with Newcastle, January might come too late for them the way the form they're in at the moment. The other thing that's helping them is Watford seem to have forgotten how to win games again.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. If they go through a bad Christmas now, and then like all their signings won't happen on the 1st of January. You see an awful lot of them happen at the end of January. And by the end of January, you could be 23-ish league games in, somewhere around that. So you have 15 league games to go, and you could be fucking 8-10 points off safety, whatever it is. And it doesn't matter who you bring in. It's a big turnaround, 10 points.
Jesse Lingard's a model to go.
Lingard is an absolute...
He will keep them up. And,
he's what they need. Proven quality. He's proven quality for that level. They did it for West Ham last year, didn't they?
But he's a spark plug as well. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Lingard, but he done it at West Ham. He gives them that spark, and that'll be the type of player I'd say. We'll see a lot of players that at the big English clubs that are out of favour.
Yeah,
and
Botman's
maybe one or two.
Botman's the one that's been linked with them, isn't it?
Yeah.
They desperately need a centre back, whether it's Botman or I could never see Burnley selling Tarkowski in mid-season. I just don't see them doing it.
Called for the right money.
Yeah,
for Andy Chase, this stat was too good to be ignored. I don't know what that stat was. So if you want to throw it back up, let me know. Liverpool chat, football in the world chat, now fields of the world's best YouTube channel ever. We love our YouTube channel. We just love having crack. And like sometimes we get it badly wrong where we talk about COVID when there's COVID happening and fucking, Paulie Walnuts says he's going to burst Keith. And Keith is
friends again.
No, we're friends again. I'm only messing.
Yeah,
but no, listen, we just love doing it. We just enjoy doing it. And that's the most important thing of everything. So thanks, Tom, for that. And the chat is always fucking great crack. I'd be raw laugh. I'd be doing my best to hold me laugh in a loads of the chat, to be honest with you.
I'm not very good at that.
No, I just find some of it so funny. And it's not even talking to us, it's talking between it's talking
each other.
Here's Veranda Cheese. He must have been reading this fucking magazine or something here. I'll throw it up for you. Even though you've abused me on it. That stat was too good to ignore. Ibra, Suarez and Ronaldo are the only players in the history of football to score in every minute of a match 1 to 90 minutes. Oh yeah, I'm glad I didn't ignore that.
There you go.
Veranda Cheese.
That's a football in the world content.
That.
Yeah. Tomorrow me and Kev are back with the post-match Newcastle, so 10 p.m. Get on that. Friday, Kev and Chris are back with Sports Unplugged. I don't know what's going on Friday night, so I'm not even going to pretend to know, right?
I don't know either.
They haven't told me anything. They don't come across any information.
We might have Mick from Copite on it as well.
Okay, good stuff. Saturday, nothing on. Liverpool don't play till Sunday, don't they? So Sunday we will do a match reaction. Me and Kev are about 7. I think we're on a half hour, are we? So we will do a match reaction, which will be 30 minutes max on the game, and then we'll be back, me, Kev, Keith, and Shawnee at 10 p.m. with a full rundown. We could have left the post match out, but people seem to be enjoying it, so we're trying to do our best. When you stop enjoying it, tell us, and we just stop doing it. That's how it works. We are planning more content in the new year. I will tell you that. Yeah, but we'll get to that in the new year, because I'll tell you that now, and then something will happen, and then it'll all go badly wrong. I'll choke on a fucking pudding and bean sandwich or something, and that'll be the end of it.
You went with a smile on your face, at least.
Yeah, I went with a smile on my face and beans dripping down the front of me while I was in my white fronts watching the telly. Yeah, exactly. Keith, anything else before we go?
You should mention it, yeah. Sergio Aguero, the great Sergio Aguero. I'm not doing the Aguero. Retired from the game. I didn't do it full gusto, you know what I mean? Retired from the game today, and I think he's. I don't know where he was rating. I think he's one of the best players to ever play in the Premier League. He was a player of absolute quality before he came to the Premier League, and you know it's awful to see him having to retire at this age. You know, he's a fair old age, don't get me wrong, he's not a young fella, but you know, under the circumstances, and look, it's something that's been with him for most of his career. I just think it's an awful way to go out, and I think you'll forget in years to come that he even signed for Barcelona. We'll all think he retired at City, and he was just an excellent player in the Premier League, and you know, probably the most iconic end of a season, you know, the most iconic moment of a Premier League finale is down to Sergio Aguero, and I just think he's maybe gets overlooked in the list of greats. You know, I'd have him well up there. I'd have him up there with the likes of Henry.
If you done that at Manchester United, you've seen in a much better light.
Oh yeah, agree 100%.
Or Liverpool.
That's a great point. That is a great point. There's a snobbery about Man City. It's right in some ways, it must be said, but I just think what he's done, the goals he's done, the opponents he does it against, does it in the big games, always does it in the big games, and I just think he's been a great player, and sad to see him having to retire the way he did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I don't think he ever scored at Anfield for Man City.
No, not at Anfield.
But he scored quite a few. I think he scored a couple at the Etihad, but he was always a player you'd fear. Worked hard. Really strong for even the size of the low centre of gravity, quick, great touch, good vision. He was
everything.
He wasn't selfish, but he was in front of goal. He was really, really, really good. He was a top fucking quality player, and like it is sad that he retires today. But the only thing I would say to him is he's had a brilliant career, and you know, hopefully in the next couple of months when it kind of all dies down and the whole retirement thing kind of gets put to bed, and he kind of gets over that he realises what a great career he has, and how he's earned the right to enjoy the rest of his life with his wife and family or whatever it might be. Just Steve says shout out to Chris for yesterday's women's show. It was a cracker. Go and look at that. Not enough people are watching this show, by the way, but it's absolutely brilliant, and Chris is putting in great work. Any more man on shows this week, Gav, says Garmac? Not this week, Gar, and to be honest, we're going to be just going on the fly, I suppose, probably till the start of January, simply because of the amount of fixtures and where they're all set up. We're trying to just fish shows in where we can, and people have to enjoy their Christmas as well, so asking people to do this, that and the other around Christmas is tough, you know what I mean? But we're going to try to do as much as we can, especially around games, and anything else we can fit in, we will, whether that's one person on screen, 2 people or 4 people. Whoever's available will come on. The lads are brilliant. When you ask them to do stuff, they do it, and if they can't, they're genuine that they can't. So it is one of those, but when it comes to December, it's one of those where just we do shows whenever we can. We don't promise anything, but we do a good bit of content in December, but we don't commit to much. Anything else before we go, Chris?
No, the only other thing I could say about the women's team is they're actually guaranteed to finish Christmas top of the league, despite the fixture being rearranged for February, so that's a good start. And despite the results tonight, they're actually into the quarterfinals of the League Cup. So
good stuff.
Good start, then. And the only thing I was saying Aguero is, I know I was flipping before, like, he's probably one of my favourite non-Liverpool players. When he didn't play against us, I thought he was brilliant. Yeah. And I'll be amazed if in the next 6 months he's not back as a ambassador like Man City. He's basically a bit like the Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish sort of figure. He'd be perfect for what Man City want as an ambassador. And I think they'd be stupid if they didn't bring him
A
back as an
team
ambassador
with
for them.
very few legends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, and I think he is
Because
certainly one.
it's very easy for us to mock Man City. We all enjoy doing it.
It all depends what he wants to do. He could be the sort of
Oh,
fella
if he
that
wants-
goes, I'm good to have to retire, but I don't want to fucking... there's loads of players out there that are like distraught at retiring because they love playing football, but they'd hate the thought of standing on the sideline or going into, you know, fucking the executive boxes and entertaining fucking people on a Saturday. You know, it all depends what he wants to do. I just hope he has a really good retirement. I hope he looks back on his career as he should. And in fairness to Sergio Aguero, he was the fucking business.
And he got the Copa America as well, didn't he? Before he went, he was part of the Argentina squad that got that. So it's nice. It means nothing really, but that he got an international trophy as well before he had the jacket in was nice.
Veranda Cheese wants me to do a video of me at the driving range. I have said for ages, I would love nothing more than to make a YouTube video going out and playing golf. And put it on this channel. I don't give a fuck if it's a Liverpool channel. Put it on this channel for a bit of crack. And all the lads go, oh no, not too sure. I do it 100%. Just get me a cameraman and put a mic on me and I'll go out and play golf and have the crack. No problem. So there you go.
And he volunteers to be the gilly that day that follows Gav around the golf course with a bleeding mic.
But I'll definitely put points and field after. I'll definitely buy points and field after for you if you want to do it, if you want the video. So that's it. Nothing else. I have nothing else. We better go. I did say an hour and 15. It's an hour and 27. We're in now, and we always break those rules. But listen, the chat have been amazing, absolutely brilliant. Hit the like on the way out if you haven't. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And if you're listening to the audio download later on, hit the review button. Give us a review. Give us a 5-star review. That gets us out to more people. And in turn, gets more people watching. More opinions in here. And that's what we're all about. Update on Sienna. Talking to her mother today. Absolutely flying. Looking forward to Christmas. And owning the house more than she has ever done before. Because of increased mobility, I think is the word you were looking at. So good luck to all of them in that house. So there you go. That is it. We will talk to you in a bit. Thanks a million, Chris. Thanks a million, Keith. See you tomorrow after the Newcastle match. Over now.